Where in the world can you find a 1970 film that also has a stripper, fully nude, burlesque Star Wars scene? That's 1979's hardcore.
What the film?
Hey guys, we need to talk about the 1979 film Hardcore, written and directed by Paul Schrader. Paul Schrader is one of my favorite writers. He's actually a really good director too, but he wrote Taxi Driver. He wrote this movie Hardcore. He wrote Raging Bull. He wrote American Gigolo. His work is always very visceral. He pulls no punches. Very dark, usually a very intense story. The 1979 film Hardcore is absolutely that. This movie was one of the last 70s street films that was ever made. It stars George C. Scott and Peter Boyle. George C. Scott, by the way, is one of the greatest actors to absolutely be in any film. He's really great at becoming super angry very fast, but also super hopeless. He does this thing where he is just absolutely hopeless, where he can cry but still get extremely angry, and it is amazing to watch. In Hardcore, this movie is absolutely bonkers. 1979, I can't even imagine the reception that this got, because it is so dark and it is so dirty, so gritty. Paul Schrader really pulls no punches with this movie. The story goes like this. George C. Scott and his whole family are Dutch Reformed Christians. So very early on in the film, you see that the religion takes a very strong hold on this family. It's Christmas and they're actually having a good time. It's actually really nice to see, and George C. Scott is actually a really good guy in this moment. His daughter disappears. She either runs away or she was taken. We're not sure in the very beginning of the movie. They hire Peter Boyle. Peter Boyle is a private investigator. He sort of discovers that his daughter is in porn. Peter Boyle actually shows this porn film to George C. Scott, which shows his daughter performing sex acts on film. It is one of the most gut-wrenching scenes I've ever seen. George C. Scott just reels in the hatred and the disgust and the shame that he's feeling, because obviously this is super against his religion. So it's really visceral in this moment, and he absolutely loses his shit. He fires Peter Boyle because he's not getting enough done, and he actually then goes out to California himself to find his daughter. This is where things get super off the rails. He goes to massage parlors. He goes to Turkish baths. He goes all over to all of these seedy porn areas. Sex is being sold all over the place. He is a fish out of water for sure, and he's increasingly getting more and more upset. His water is boiling throughout the film. Mark Chapman does the cinematography, and at some point we have to do a video just on his cinematography. Mark Chapman is one of the greatest. It's so dark and so seedy that the colors really reflect that. The cinematography in this is absolutely outstanding, the best part of the whole film. There are scenes where George C. Scott is walking through hallways, going through red light areas, green light areas, blue areas. There's so much different sexualized, weird colors. You would absolutely be amazed. If you watch it just for the cinematography, Mark Chapman is a goddamn genius. George C. Scott follows through with trying to find his daughter in this very dark area of California. He ends up befriending another prostitute. Now, Paul Schrader also wrote Taxi Driver, and this film is very similar to Taxi Driver because, of course, Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver befriends a prostitute, a 14-year-old prostitute. In Hardcore, George C. Scott also befriends this prostitute. And the cool thing about this movie is, and actually all of Paul Schrader's writing, is that he does not judge these characters. The prostitutes in this movie and the seedy characters that are selling the sex and all of that stuff are not judged. They're just normal people going about their business, right? There's no, these people are the bad guys, these people are the criminals. In fact, there are moments where George C. Scott judges them, and they actually judge George C. Scott for his religious beliefs. And it's sort of like nobody should judge anybody, right? And so he befriends this prostitute who's actually a really nice girl. And then they really find out that the daughter is getting into some very bad pornography. I mean, like, dark stuff. Things like today you would see on the dark web, but this is 1979, so it's just happening somewhere in a dark room. I don't want to give too much away because you really should watch this movie, but there is sort of a Hollywood ending to all of this. The movie is so dark, and it takes you into places you really would never want to go, especially as a father. So I think it's something that needs to be shown. I can't believe that not many people talk about this movie. Great writing, great acting. George C. Scott is unbelievable in this movie. Paul Schrader, hands down, one of my top favorites, at least in the writing aspect, but he actually is a really good director too. Not many people even think about that. Hardcore is absolutely one of my favorite movies. Please take a look at it.
Turn it off. Turn it off!